Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good.
Hold on 1 second. Let me. All right, we're ready to start.
Yes, Your Honor, at ACDC South Annex is ready and willing.
Ready and willing. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Judge Regina Mincy, and this is the Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar for March the 15th. We're going to begin this calendar for cases in which individuals have been recently arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused these cases of the offenses brought against them, and the cases have been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge. So we're going to address several matters, including bond, possible arraignment, and a possible plea offer if one has been made at this juncture. I'm going to also be providing you with a state all-purpose or reset date, and that date is
March the 28th.
March 28th. All right. I want to also begin by advising everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube. So govern yourselves accordingly. I want to also remind the defendants or persons on this calendar that you have certain constitutional rights. The first being that you have a right to representation at this juncture in your case, and you should know who your attorneys are at this point. So listen to your attorneys. Also, I want to remind you too that you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say about the facts, the circumstances, or the occurrences of your case can and will be used against you. The state is here and they're listening. So again, listen to your attorneys. All right, first case we have.
Position 11, Amari Thompson.
Okay. Hold on a second. I think I have the add-on and not the main. Calendar. Call that one for me, Miss Bridgewater, and let me print out the other one. I think I printed just one.
Okay, this will be position number 11, Amari Angelique Thompson. Case number 23 CR 001524G. Battery, family violence.
All right. Pre-trial.
First arrest.
All right, state.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
So this incident occurred on March 12th at 353 King Street Southeast, Unit 106. Officers responded to a dispute call at this location and met with Robert Reese, who is the victim in this case. Mr. Reese stated that he and the defendant, who is his ex-girlfriend / roommate, were in a verbal argument over toothpaste. Reese believed that the defendant had his toothpaste and questioned her about it, sparking an argument between the two. The argument turned physical when the defendant slapped Reese in the forehead, causing visible swelling to his forehead. Your Honor, because this is her first arrest and this reason only, the state will be recommending a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. No further contact, stay away from this location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a one-day anger awareness class. Nothing further.
All right. Ms. McLeod.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My client is 20 years old. She is gainfully employed. She has two jobs, she tells me. She works in IT, just started working in IT, and she also has a job working for Amazon. What she tells me, Your Honor, is this was just a verbal dispute with herself and her ex. They actually have been exes for over a year, but they still live together in the same household. His mom also lives there. So his mom, they live there. They have been broken up as a couple for more than a year now, but they still continue to live in this household. My client would like to continue to live in this household because she tells me that she just started working and she's not in a position to move anywhere yet, and she has nowhere else to go. She has no relatives in the Metro Atlanta area, no place at all where she can stay. But she's willing to move out at some point in time, but she's not yet ready to move out. And she tells me that mom and also the alleged victim have no problem with her coming back there. If the court would sound for the alleged victim, then of course we could ascertain that. She didn't have his telephone number, so I wasn't able to call him, Your Honor, just to see how he feels about this.
All right. All right, I'm going to grant the $4,000 surety bond.
It's a signature bond, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, signature bond. $4,000 signature bond through pretrial. I am going to order that the defendant stay away from, is it 353 King Street?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, could we sound for the alleged victim just to make sure, because my client has nowhere else to live. She tells me she was, prior to all of this, she was in foster care, so she has no relatives or anyone here that she can go to live with.
She's how old?
20.
All right. Want to make sure that Mr. Robert Reese not on the Zoom call. Mr. Robert Reese. All right. And again, this location, I guess, is being rented by both parties or being rented by the victim.
The mom's name is on the lease, but my client has lived there now for almost 2 years.
The defendant's mom or the victim's mom?
The victim's mom.
Victim's mom.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't see why the defendant, again, she's going to have to find somewhere else to live. And I understand there's situations where that may not be possible. Hopefully someone from your office can, social services can speak with her, help to provide some housing. But it's not her mom.
So services could, Your Honor, because she tells me she absolutely has nowhere else she can go.
Yeah, I am sorry for that, but
Can't go back there, she'll be on the streets. That's what she tells me, because she doesn't have anyone who she can go to. She, as I said, she was in foster care prior to all of this, to becoming an adult, and she just doesn't have anyone that she can contact to help her with housing.
I was hoping that your office or someone could provide her some assistance. I do understand, but we've had, some domestic violence here, so we want to make sure that the victim is going to be safe.
I understand, Your Honor.
But I would hope that the PD's office with their resources could help her find some assistance or find a temporary housing situation. I do understand, but my hands are a little tied with it.
I understand, Your Honor.
So again, it is to stay away from 353 King Street, not to go back there, and no further contact with the victim, Robert Reese. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Can she have a one-time police escort to go back to the location to get her things, Your Honor?
Yes, I will allow that, a one-time police escort to get her personal belongings. And so remember that you must arrange for police escort. Do not go back there alone. All right, anything else, council, that I need to take up?
Nothing further, Your
No,
Honor.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yes, we have position 3, Mr. Clark.
All right. This is 23 CR 0001517A, Patrick Clark, charged with 1 count of giving false information to law enforcement officer. The offense date is March 14th, 2023. Retrial.
He has a total of 26. Last arrest was 2016 for simple assault. Unlawful conduct during 911 call. They were accused and they were dismissed. Before that, 2015 suspended license. 2011 suspended license conviction. 2011 probation. 2009 probation. 2009 failure to appear. You want me to keep going?
No, that's good. In 2009.
Yeah, I'm at 2009. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, State.
Yes, good afternoon, Judge Mincy. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thank you. So this incident occurred yesterday at about 3:20 in the morning at 2478 Donald Lee Hollowell Road in Atlanta. And this is where officers arrived in response to a naked male in the mail room. And when officers arrived, they observed a man that was later identified as the defendant buckling up his pants. And so when officers asked the defendant whether he lived there or not, he said that his friend lives there in apartment 1112, and that he had just left that apartment around 1:30 in the morning, and he just remained on the premises. Officers then determined that the defendant matched the description of a male that had been causing issues at that property for the last couple of weeks. And when officers asked the defendant what his name was, he replied Patrick Jones. And then later he told officers that his name was Kenneth Clark. And so, Your Honor, for these reasons, the state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond, a stay away order at the 2478 Donald Lee Hollowell apartment complex, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. And who's representing?
Me, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay.
Judge, Mr. Clark is 58 years old. He does have a good address here in Atlanta. He has a high school diploma and actually has good employment as a private contractor. He does general labor. Based on his income, he would not qualify for the services of the public defender after today. Excuse me, but he has significant ties here to Georgia. He was born here. However, he's been consistently living here for the past 20 years. Based on the listing of his past criminal history, he hasn't had an arrest judge since 2016. So 7 years he's been law abiding without having any issues with law enforcement. And so I would, based on that, this is a nonviolent offense. I would ask for your consideration today for a signature bond. Nothing further.
All right. All right, I am going to grant a $4,000 signature bond through the jail. I am going to, do we have a good address from Mr. Clark?
Mr. Clark, can you provide your address?
Right now, I'm in, I was.
Just give the actual address. I just want you to give that.
275 Prior Street is where I'm going to. It's not my home. I was in the Georgia Works program.
Can he receive mail there?
I believe.
No, we cannot. I can receive mail at 1190, no, what is it? 1982 Poplar Falls Avenue. That's the Lithonia, Georgia, 30058.
Thank you.
All right. So make sure, Mr. Clark, that you keep in touch with your attorney and you keep your address current with the clerk of court as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that you will understand when your next court date is.
Yes, ma'am.
No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond,
Yes, ma'am.
except for anything prescribed to you. All right,
Yes,
What's that bond?
$4,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Next, we have position number 6, Wynette Lewis. Wynette.
Y'all slide down. Third row, slide down.
All right, this is 23 CR 001520A. Is it Monette or Monet Lewis, charged with 1 count of battery family violence? The offense date is March the 14th, 2023, pretrial.
First arrest.
First arrest, okay, state.
Yes, Your Honor, this event occurred yesterday evening at about 4 p.m. where officers arrived at 1700 Slayton Road, Southwest, Unit H63, where officers arrived to conduct a knock and talk and then the defendant came outside and explained that Mr. Jacob Monton, that's spelled Monton, the father of the defendant's child, were in a verbal dispute regarding money. And so both Mr. Monton and the defendant told the officer that the dispute wasn't physical. However, the officer noted in the police report that he observed injuries on both Mr. Monton and the defendant. And then when officers asked the defendant for the second time what took place here, that is when the defendant stated that she pushed Mr. Monton and then he pushed her back. And so then Mr. Martin then told police officers that the dispute was because he had been cheating and that the defendant grabbed his phone and then she began hitting him. And officers noted that Mr. Martin sustained a laceration to his lower lip and scratches and bruising on his neck. And then when officer asked him where did the bruising and laceration come from, he stated that those injuries were old. However, the officer noted in the police report that the injuries looked fresh. In fact, that he had a bleeding lip while he was talking to him. Furthermore, Your Honor, the defendant admitted that her injuries came from tussling with Mr. Jacob Monton. For these reasons, Your Honor, the state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Jacob Monton, because they have a child together, a third-party escort with the child. To a stay away order at the 1700 Slayton Road, Southwest H63, a 1-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And lastly, Your Honor, I would like to sound for Mr. Jacob Monton if he's on the Zoom call.
All right, Mr. Jacob Monton. Jacob Monton, are you on the Zoom call? Okay. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. So my client, Miss Lewis, is 21 years old. She does have a good address here in Atlanta. She is, Your Honor, the mother of the 3-month-old that she shares with the alleged complaining witness. And she also is 6 weeks pregnant currently. She would qualify for the services of the public defender, and I have helped her today with filling out that application. So our office will be representing her after today. Your Honor, she has has significant ties as well to the state. She's been here for 12 years. And as pretrial has mentioned, this is her first arrest, Judge. And so I would ask again for your consideration of a signature bond based on this. Nothing further.
All right. I will order a $3,000 signature bond. I'm going to order that signature bond through pretrial. I'm going to order a one-day anger awareness course through pretrial. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I don't know who resides at the 1700 Blayton Road, Southwest.
Your Honor, I have explained to her that there was a possibility that the state would be asking for a stay away. If so, she does have a separate address at 5605 Hunters Forest Lane in College Park.
All right. Stay away from the Blanton Road address. No further contact at this time with the victim, Jacob Monton, so that we can make sure we have the proper cooling down period. And I do understand we have children involved. So if there's to be any allowed visitation, that should be done by a third party or facilitated and conducted by a third party so that you don't violate the conditions of your bond, Ms. Lewis.
And Your Honor, I would ask for a one-time visit with the sheriff to retrieve her property.
Okay. And a one-time law enforcement escort back to the property to retrieve your personal belongings.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your Honor,
And I
just for
think,
the,
yes.
I'm sorry,
Go
Your Honor,
ahead.
just for the record, the address, the stay away address, is Staten Road, not Slatin, and that's spelled,
Oh, spell that.
yes, and that's spelled STANTON. Road.
Oh, okay. I think I didn't hear that good. Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. 1700 Staten Road.
Okay.
There.
And I'm sure Ms. Bridgewater has that.
I do.
Good. Thank you. All right. If there's nothing else, that'll conclude this matter.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Position 4, Mr. Griffin.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is case number 23CR001518F, Trenton Griffin, charged at one count of simple battery, family violence. The offense date is September the 6th, 2021. Pre-trial.
6 total. 2013 aggravated domestic violence that was dismissed out of Indiana. He got 1 FTA in his history. The rest of his history is driving. That's it.
All right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred 9/6/2021 at 2101 Southwood Vista, apartment 711. And this is where the defendant punched Miss America, and that's spelled ARMIRICA Hill. Where the defendant punched Miss Hill in her face and on her body multiple times. The defendant and Miss Hill have a child together, and they used to share the same residence. Miss Hill told police that this was not the first time that the defendant had attacked her, but she felt that this time warranted police intervention, Your Honor. And for these reasons, the state is asking for a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with Miss Hill, a stay away order at the 101 Southwood Vista address, apartment 711, a one-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. And Ms.
Your Honor,
Counts?
Yes, Mr. Griffin is 30 years old, Your Honor. He does have a good address separate and apart from this alleged complaining witness at 440 Concord Terrace in McDonough. So we're fine with the stay away and no further contact. He does have a 4-year-old child, so we would ask for a third-party transfer with your bond set today. He would not qualify for the public defender after today, depending on his employment, which I've spoken to him about already, Your Honor. However, he does have significant ties with the state. He has been present here since December of 2013. And so based on the fact that he has no real significant criminal history to note, I would ask for your consideration. Again, these are allegations. I would ask for your consideration today of a signature bond.
All right.
Your Honor, I would like to sound for Miss America Hill if in case she's on the Zoom call.
All right, Miss America Hill. America Hill. All right, don't think she's on. All right, I will go ahead and order the 3,500 surety bond. And with that 3,500 surety bond, there will be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. There will be a stay away from the incident location at that Southwest Vista. No further contact with the victim, America Hill. And I think that will be it. Anything else, counsel?
Yes, a third party escort
Oh.
because they have a child together.
Sorry about that. Yes, you did say that. And third party transfer, facilitating visitation if any is allowed with the child in this case, or the child between the parties, should I say.
And
So
Your Honor,
third-party transfer.
only thing further I would ask is if, again, your consideration for the signature bond, just in light of the fact that this alleged incident happened 2 years ago. This isn't a fresh situation. I'm not even sure the last time he's been in contact with her. And so I would again ask for your reconsideration of a signature bond, considering that he has no significant history, as well as this happened allegedly 2 years ago.
And again, how many with the history with the with pretrial?
Who's this, Griffin, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
6 total.
6 total.
Correct.
And there was a 2013 arrest for an aggravated domestic violence incident. Although it wasn't in Georgia, it was in Indiana.
What was dismissed?
It was dismissed.
It was dismissed. So again, Your Honor, he has no significant history. He has no convictions that were stated on the record. And so I would ask, again, this happened 2 years ago. There's no emergency here. There's no known threat to this alleged woman. And again, these are allegations of a 2-year ago event that allegedly occurred. And so based on that, I do believe he would qualify for a signature bond. Nothing further. Thank you.
And where does the defendant, what's the work history? I know you said he was 30 years old.
Yes, he's 30 years old, and you said his employment.
Yes.
He's a security guard. That's his profession.
All right, I will grant the $3,500 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
And I'm assuming we have a good address.
Yes, his address is is 440 Concord Terrace in McDonough. On his paperwork, it had the incorrect address, the number. It is in fact 440 Concord Terrace in McDonough.
All right. We'll make that correction. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Stay away, no further contact. And a
Stay
third-party
away, no
transfer.
further contact and third-party transfer. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Position 1, Caroline Cameron.
Okay. This is case number 23 CR 001515C. Caroline Cameron, charged with 1 count of battery. The offense date is March 13th, 2023.
It's a
Pre-trial.
fifth arrest, 2022 DUI, 2022 unlawful conduct during 911 call, and simple battery against police. That appears to be open. That's it.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened March 13th, 2023 at approximately 8 p.m. at 3280 Northside Parkway. This is the defendant's address. And our victim advocate spoke to the victim in this case, Mr. Zachary Dillard, and he informed her that on the day of the incident, the defendant had been drinking the entire day, and she was drunk and was being very argumentative that day. And so when he was trying to leave the defendant's apartment, she wouldn't let him leave. And then the defendant began standing in front of his car and jumping on the car. And she, in fact, ripped the Mr. Dillard's windshield wiper off his car. And so then while Mr. Dillard was on the phone with the police, the defendant got in his car, and that's where she snatched his glasses off his face and causing 2 large scratches under his right eye. Your Honor. And Mr. Dillard also told our victim advocate that this wasn't the first altercation he and the defendant had been in, but this is the first time he felt that there needed to be police intervention. And Mr. Dillard also told our victim advocate that the defendant had called him several times, but he hasn't answered the phone since this incident has taken place. Your Honor, the state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Mr. Dillard, a 1-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. Ms. Count.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Ms. Cameron's 26 years old. She does have a good address at 3280 Northside Parkway. Your Honor, she would qualify for the services of the public defender. She's not employed. She has no income. I understand that this is her 5th arrest, and she does have an open DUI, I believe is what I heard. However, this is unrelated to that, and so I would ask still for your consideration of the signature bond, as I don't believe that she will be a flight risk. She's been present in the state since she was 3 years old, so she does have significant ties here. However, again, she does not have any employment presently at the time, and so she would not be able to post any type of a monetary bond. So I would again ask for your consideration today for the signature bond. Nothing further.
And Your Honor, I believe Mr. Zachary Dillard is on the Zoom call, so I would like to sound for him at this time.
Okay, Mr. Zachary Dillard. Zachary Dillard, you're on the, oh, I see. Okay, there he is. Mr. Dillard, would you like to speak to the court today?
I don't have anything to say other than what was said.
Okay, all right, thank you for your time. Anyone else? I was getting ready to say cross-examination, but there is no need for that.
No, Your Honor.
All right. If there's nothing else, I will go ahead and rule. All right, on this case, I am going to order the $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the 3280. And I didn't write the street down, didn't finish my thought there.
3280 Northside Parkway.
Northside Parkway.
Well, Your Honor, excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't ask for a stay away because that is the defendant's address. It's not the victim's address.
Oh, okay.
That
All
is
right, so
correct.
I will.
That
Okay.
is correct, Your Honor. That's her home.
All right, sorry about that. I will scratch that. But certainly at this time, to make sure there's going to be the ample cooling off period, I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Zachary Dillard. I'm going to order no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons while on bond. And that's all I'll order at this time for the surety bond. Unless council has anything else.
No, Your Honor.
No. All right, that'll conclude this matter.
Position 5, Mr. Johnson.
All right. This is case number 23 CR 001519D. Is that Gabriel Johnson, charged at 1 count of theft by shoplifting. The offense date is December the 1st, 2022. Pre-trial.
They got history in Georgia and North Carolina. I'll start with North Carolina first.
Okay.
2021 assault on a female conviction. You got a probation hold out of Sandy Springs, FTA out of Decatur, probation out of North Carolina. 2019 Roswell, theft by taking, arrest. 2019 shoplifting arrest. 2018 shoplifting conviction out of Dunwoody. 2017 probation violation, underlying charge, serious injury by vehicle. 2017 obstruction, pled nolo. 2016 probation. 2013 DUI. 2012 shoplifting arrest.
All right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. This offense occurred on December 1st, 2022 at about 4:20 p.m. at the Eclipse over Roswell New Age Gifts and Psychic Spa. The address for that is 408 South Atlanta Street, Unit 150. And this is where the defendant concealed in his clothes without paying for a bracelet and several decorative items, including but not limited to a Buddha, a skull, a type of pyramid, an obsidian tower, and a Santa ornament. All of the items totaled to about $121.70. Your Honor, considering what happened in this case and the defendant's shoplifting history, the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond and a stay away order from the Eclipse over Roswell New Age Gifts and Psychic Spa store.
All right. Ms. Counts.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Mr. Johnson is 30 years old. He does have a good address at 251 Murray Hill Avenue here in Atlanta. He has a high school diploma, and however, presently he is not employed. He would qualify for the services of the public defender after today. I have assisted him today with that application. He has been present in the state for the past year. And again, prior to that was residing in North Carolina, but his intentions are to remain here. So I do not believe that he would be a flight risk. I understand that there's a history akin to the charge that he's before you today. But I would ask for your consideration, if not for a signature bond, a low a bond as possible, considering that he does not have present employment at this time. Nothing further.
All right. And what was the state's recommendation again?
The state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond and a stay away order at the Eclipse over Roswell store.
All right. I will order a $1,000 surety bond. I will order that stay away from the Eclipse store on Roswell Road. I will order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that's it. Anything else, council?
Nothing further.
All
Nothing
right.
further, Your Honor.
Next, we have position number 2, Shawana Charles. I'm sorry, Shauna Charles, position number 2.
All right. This is 23 CR 001516H. Shawana Charles, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property. 2nd count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. 3rd count of fare evasion, all with the offense date of March the 14th, 2023. Retrial.
Yeah. She got history out of California, Hawaii. 2022 February. I see domestic abuse family. That's what it says. Looks like charges was dropped in that case. As far as California, got a 2018 assault deadly weapon. It says detention only. 2013 DUI conviction. 2011 disorderly conduct, intoxication. Unreasonable loud noise, that was a conviction. Disorderly was dismissed. And before that was a 2005 threatened crime with intent to terrorize conviction. Assault with a deadly weapon conviction. Go to the Georgia history. First Georgia arrest.
Okay.
That's it. Everything else is like from 2000 and the 90s.
Okay. All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday morning at about 12 a.m. And this is where the defendant entered the East Point train station, addressed at 2848 Main Street in East Point. The defendant entered the East Point train station without paying the required $2.50 fare. And so then when Officer Falacio instructed the defendant to leave the train station, she refused to. And so then the officer attempted to arrest the defendant, and she also refused arrest. So specifically, when the officer told her to place her hands behind her back, the defendant refused by placing both of her hands in front of her chest while she was on the ground. And then the officer noted in the police report that the defendant kicked the officer while on the floor in an effort to try to prevent being handcuffed, Your Honor. So the state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 for the criminal trespass, and another $1,000 for the willful obstruction. We're asking for a $500 signature on bond through pretrial services for the fare evasion, and a stay away order at the East Point train station, addressed 2848 Main Street in East Point, and we're asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, Ms. Count.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Charles is 43 years old. She does have a 2-year-old child that she needs to get back to providing care for, Your Honor. She does have a job that's starting as a porter for Delta Airlines starting on the 23rd. Another reason why she needs to get released today, Your Honor, so that she can maintain employment. She is new to Georgia. She has been here since February 20th of this year. However, she does have this job offer for good employment starting on the 23rd of this month. Your Honor, I would ask for your consideration of a signature bond in light of the fact that her last conviction was 10 years ago. So she's been doing her best efforts to get employment. She's moved here to start a new life, Your Honor. And so these offenses, I would ask again for your consideration based on the fact that she has not had a conviction since 2013. I would ask for your consideration again for a signature bond on all of these charges.
All right. Did I, is there an open case or no? Did I hear an open case state or pretrial?
I don't think so.
No.
I didn't hear that.
No, she
No?
just multi-state offender. That's
Just multi-state, but no open cases. Okay,
correct.
all right. I'm going to, on these three charges, I'm going to order a surety bond. And well, I don't know, the state's recommendation was a split bond. But I tell you what, I'm just going to, on these three charges, order a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, $1,000 on each charge. And with that $3,000 signature bond through the jail, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from that East Point MARTA station and find some other means of transportation. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. That should be it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Position 7, Mr. Little.
Okay. This is 23 CR 001521H. Tavares Little, charged with DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol as safe, driving improper or erratic lane change and no insurance on February the 26th, 2023. Pre-trial.
Third arrest, 2021, failure to appear. 2016, suspended license, no law.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred February 26, 2023 at about 2:13 in the morning. And it was at off of Georgia 400 northbound in Roswell. And this is where officers arrived on scene of a car accident involving the defendant, where the car was dismantled due to the defendant hitting trees in the woods. And so the officer observed the defendant slumped over and disoriented with multiple lacerations on his face due to the collision with his car in the trees. And the defendant informed the officers that he didn't know what happened and that he was coming from the 592 bar that is located next to Stonecrest Mall. And he told officers that he had 2 drinks that night around 9:30 in the afternoon. But officers noted the smell of alcohol coming from the defendant while the defendant was talking to him in the ambulance. Your Honor, the state is asking for a $5,500 surety bond, $4,000 for the DUI, $1,000 for having no insurance, and $500 for the improper driving charge. And we're also asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons out on no bond, and for the defendant to not drive while out on bond.
All right. PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Little is 23 years old, and he's right now he's serving for Army as a military soldier. He works as a National Guard, and he also works as a security at immigration building. Your Honor, he's been doing that for about last 5 years after he graduated from high school. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He has a strong ties to the community, and he's not going to run away. He will be back. Indeed, it was himself who turned himself into the jail after he got out of the hospital. He was taken to North Fulton Hospital for a lot of injuries. His hip was dislocated. He still has a hole in his lung. because of the airbag that was deployed and just kind of hurt him in a major way. We would like to request for a signature on bond for this incident. He had a previous one, failure to appear. He's taking care of it. Indeed, he has a court date tomorrow, March 16, 2023. So I would like to request for a signature on bond through jail so he can go and take care of that issue as well. Thank you.
Where is this court date tomorrow?
It is Clayton County, Your Honor. It was a speeding ticket that was actually, it happened to have a failure to appear. And then he has to take care of that part.
And did you say he was active duty in the Army?
Yes.
Or used to be in the Army? He's
No,
active duty
he's
now.
active duty, yes.
And in the National Guard?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I guess he's stationed here in Atlanta.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I'm kind of surprised. I'm going to order that $5,500 signature bond, and I'm going to order that signature bond through the jail with some reluctance. But I'm assuming if he's serving our country that we will be able to find him, but I have concerns due to the conduct that I'm hearing. And so that would be $4,000 on the first charge, $1,000 on no insurance, and $500 on the improper lane charge. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons while on bond. So surely he will not drink while he's on bond. As far as the driving, I would say that there'd be limited driving, only to go to work, hospital, or to court proceeding and see his attorney. So we'll just put him on limited driving privileges. And since he's not supposed to be drinking, obviously he should not have any other cases while he's on bond anyway or ever. So that's what we'll do. $5,500 signature bond through the jail.
Thanks, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else?
Nothing further.
All right. That will conclude this case.
Position 8, Mr. Mbe.
All right. This is case number 23 CR 001522A. Mr. Mbe, you're charged with one count of theft by taking, January 13, 2023. Pre-trial.
This is first adult arrest. I think he went to the felony first appearance today too. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll go check.
You can go ahead, state, and we'll.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred on January 13th at 2732 Tell Place Drive Southwest. Mr. Richard Beckford, who's the victim in this case, went to the Zone 4 precinct to report bank fraud activity. Beckford told officers he suspected it was the defendant who committed these crimes because the defendant had access to his home as he had been helping him around the house. On the day in question, Beckford allowed defendant to use his cell phone to text his mother, but later realized that a Cash App payment in the amount of $700 was sent to a Danquilla Jackson. Beckford also stated that his Cash App was deleted from his phone, but not by him. Your Honor, for these reasons, the state will be recommending a $1,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no further contact with Mr. Beckford, and to stay away from the 2732 Tell Place Drive. Nothing further.
All right, Edie Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mbe is actually 19 years old, young. He was born and raised here in Georgia. After 8th grade, he's trying to complete his GED, and he has worked at cook-up restaurant as a chef. We would like to request for a signature on bond through jail for this incident, and because he also has other felony charges, so he is not going anywhere, Your Honor. He will be here. We just want to make sure he gets less burden for his big fish that he has to fry. Yeah, thank you.
All right. And we don't have, I don't think I see the victim on the line. Mr. Is it Beckford? Or Mr. Beckford? Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct.
I think it's Beckford.
Oh, Beckford. Okay. I don't see him. All right. I am concerned at 19 years old. We have this going on. Wish he had his GED or working toward that. And make that one of the bond conditions to continue working towards getting his GED. But I understand that it's got the felony charge, so I will go ahead and order the $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Stay away from 2713 Tell Place Drive. No further contact with Richard Beckford. Beckforth. I keep mispronouncing that. I apologize. And continue working toward his GED.
And Your Honor, I just wanted to make one clarification. It's 2732 Tell Place Drive.
Oh, 2732. Okay. Thank you.
Position 9, Mr. Saunders.
Okay. This is 23 CR 001523D, Gregory Kent Saunders, charged with 1 count of driving improper erratic lane change, 2nd count tag light required, DUI less safe, and DUI under the influence of alcohol concentration 0.08 grams or more within 3 hours or more. So all 4 of those charges have the offense date of March 14th, 2023.
This is a 4th arrest, 2013 DUI conviction, 2013 terroristic threats. It was reduced to disorderly conduct conviction. That's it.
All right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred on March 14th in Roswell, Georgia, the intersection of Georgia 9 and Woodstock Road. Officers observed the defendant turn left on Woodstock Road, failing to maintain his lane. And the officer also observed the defendant had no functioning tag light, so he initiated a traffic stop. Once officer made contact with the defendant, officer observed the defendant's eyes were red and watery and his speech was slurred and slow. Officer also detected a smell of alcohol coming from his breath. The defendant told the officer varying stories on how many drinks he had prior to driving, finally settling on having had 4 beers. The officer asked the defendant to exit the vehicle, and the defendant could not stand straight and was swaying from side to side. Officers also noticed wet spots on the defendant's pants, which the defendant admitted were urine. The defendant originally consented to the field sobriety test, but then stated that he had knee problems, so he could not complete it. The defendant was placed under arrest and driven to the precinct where he agreed to the state-administered chemical test of his breath, and his BAC returned a measure of 0.127. Your Honor, because this is his second DUI within 10 years, the state will be recommending a $4,000 split bond. That's a $500 signature bond through the jail for count 1, $500 signature bond through the jail for count 2, a $1,500 surety on count 3, and a $1,500 surety on count 4. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving without a valid Georgia license. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Kitty Kim?
Yes, Mr. Saunders, he is 67 years old, Your Honor. He has been retired for the last 5 years, and he lived here in Georgia for more than 23 years. He moved from Pennsylvania, and now this became his hometown. He has a high school education, and he does not have enough funds. So he is actually qualified for public defender's services. So we will continuously help him to defend this case. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond, considering the fact that he is retired and he has no other income other than Social Security. So we would like to request for signature on bond. Thanks.
All right, based on his history, I'll do the split bond. I'll order $500 on the first count, signature bond through the jail. Second count, $500, signature bond through the jail. Third and fourth count, $1,500 surety bond, which would be the total of $3,000 surety. And 1,000 signature through the jail. No drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons while on bond. No driving unless you have a valid Georgia driver's license. And I guess that'll be it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your
No,
Honor.
Your Honor.
Okay.
Position 10, Mr. Savage.
Okay. This is 23 CR 001525E. Christopher Savage, charged with 1 count of battery. That offense date is March 13, 2023. Pretrial.
Fifth arrest, 2022 ag assault. That's open out of Cobb. 2018 simple battery DV dismissed. 2017 afraid dismissed. That's it.
All right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on March 13th at 221 Cleveland Avenue, where the defendant admitted to officers that he was in a dispute with Mr. Brandon Love, who's the victim here. And during this dispute, he bit Love on the nose, leaving a visible injury on Mr. Love. Your Honor, the state is concerned of the risk of reoffense because this open case in Cobb County for aggravated assault is for the same victim. Mr. Savage is also violating the bonds of the current condition out right now, which is to stay away from Mr. Love as well as no further contact. So for these reasons, the state will be recommending a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, to stay away from Mr. Love, and no further contact. And Your Honor, we would like to sound for Mr. Love if he's on the call at the appropriate time.
Okay. All right. Mr. Brandon Love. Brandon Love. Okay, don't think he's on the Zoom. All right, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old. He is gainfully employed. He also takes care of his elderly mother who is disabled. He is her only caretaker, he tells me. And he lives with her. He does not live with the alleged victim, Your Honor. At some point in time, they were in a relationship, Your Honor. They are no longer in a relationship. He tells me that the alleged victim, he encountered him on this particular occasion, and the alleged victim got in his car, and they were having an argument. And the alleged victim broke his car windshield and, just refused to go away. So he drove into a gas station because he wanted the alleged victim to get out of his car. He drove into a gas station. There was a police officer there, and he tried to explain to the officer what was happening. They were actually both detained. And the alleged victim apparently was taken to Grady Hospital and walked away from Grady Hospital. My client maintains that he definitely was not the primary aggressor here, Your Honor. He doesn't really have a lot of money for bonds. I would ask the court to consider giving him, if not a signature bond, certainly a much lower bond than the 5,000 surety bond, which the state is asking for. Nothing further, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, I would like to reiterate that his open case in Cobb County is against Mr. Love. And had he not been violating those bond conditions, this situation may not have occurred. Nothing further.
All right.
I do have something further, Your Honor. My client tells me that Mr. Love was the one who came and contacted him, not the other way around. And they have never lived together.
His bond is his responsibility, Your Honor.
All right. I will order the $5,000 surety bond. And with that $5,000 surety bond, no further contact. And I mean, no further contact with Brandon Love. Stay away from 221 Cleveland Avenue. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons while on bond. And I guess that's it, unless counsel has anything else.
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, that'll conclude this case.
Position 13, Mr. Webb.
This is 23 CR 001528C. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. Except 13. 23 CR 001526F, Quintel Webb, charge of 1 count of simple battery family violence. The offense date is February the 9th, 2023. Pre-trial.
I'm gonna defer to the state.
You're doing what?
I said I'm gonna defer to the state.
Oh, defer to the state. State, do you have this history?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a 2008 battery family violence conviction out of DeKalb County, a 2014 marijuana possession of less than 1 ounce conviction where he pled NOLO. And then for his arrest, I have a 2003 possession of marijuana, a 2008 simple battery and criminal trespass, which was dismissed, a 2009 marijuana possession with less than an ounce, a 2009 probation violation, a 2014 marijuana possession with less than an ounce, and a 2016 driving while license suspended. And I'm also showing that he's currently wanted out of Iowa. So this incident occurred on February 9th at 2479 Abner Terrace Northwest, apartment 220. Officers responded to a dispute call and spoke with Ms. Jasmine Ortiz, who's the victim in this case, who stated that the defendant, who is her ex-boyfriend who used to live with her, pushed her down into the bed during a heated argument. Ortiz went on to further state in the police report that she picked up the defendant from a boarding house because he was intoxicated and fighting other roomers at the house. When they got to her home, Ortiz told him not to eat any of her food and to turn off the lights, but the defendant got enraged and flipped over the coffee table, In fear, Ortiz ran to her bedroom and the defendant followed, pushing her onto the bed. The defendant then took her car keys and left the complex. Your Honor, the state will be recommending a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Ortiz, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and to stay away from 2479 Abner Terrace, apartment 220. And we would like to sound from Ms. Ortiz at the appropriate time.
All right, Jasmine Ortiz. Jasmine Ortiz. Don't think she's on the line. Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 36 years old. He is the father of two children, a 16-year-old and a 2-year-old, with whom he is quite involved. He is also gainfully employed. He works in a warehouse. He denies the allegations, Your Honor. He tells me that Miss Ortiz was an ex, well, not really fully an ex, just someone that he had met and had a brief relationship with, which has been over for some time. He denies that he has seen her certainly in the month of February. He said the last time he saw her was sometime in early January. He believes she is simply upset with him because he broke off the relationship between them and that she has made up the story, but he denies that he was anywhere near this location or near Miss Ortiz at the time of the incident, Your Honor. I will point out to the court that he has a remote conviction, but everything else that I've heard is marijuana possession, but no other convictions except one rather remote conviction. And I believe that the whole in Idaho is not him, Your Honor. He maintains that that would not be him. I would ask the court to give a signature bond because everything else is remote, Your Honor. And if not, a reasonable bond, say maybe $1,500. He doesn't have any problem with no further contact with the alleged victim because he's not been having contact with her for some time. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to order the $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from 2479 Abner Terrace, apartment 220. I am going to order no further contact with the victim, Jasmine Ortiz or Ortez. And I guess that'll be it for now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 14, Mr. Williams.
Okay. This is 23 CR 001527C. Rashard Williams. One count of simple battery, family violence. The offense date is March the 14th, 2023. Free trial.
This is 8th arrest. 2021 suspended license. 2019 possession of marijuana. 2019 ag assault dismissed, and he had a capital offense with that arrest. That was dismissed as well. That's it.
All right.
This incident occurred on March 14th at 7460 Old Chapel in South Fulton. Officers responded to a domestic dispute call at this location and upon arrival met with Tamona Coleman, who is the victim's aunt. Her first name is spelled Tamona. Coleman stated that the defendant slapped Mr. Jamie Williams. His name is Jamey, and Jamie Williams is 7 years old, in the face. Defendant stated that he felt disrespected because the victim cursed at him at the direction of Ms. Coleman. The victim's mother stated that she did not appreciate the defendant putting hands on her son. Your Honor, this morning we were able to speak with the aunt, Ms. Coleman, who stated that the victim is her nephew and lives with her. Ms. Coleman stated that she and the defendant have been together for 2.5 years. However, they have no children. And the defendant has been verbally aggressive with her as well as the victim in this case prior. She says the defendant can be hot-headed and aggressive, and she feels there needs to be a cool down period. Therefore, she would not like to see him. She'd like him to stay away and have no further contact at this time. Your Honor, for these reasons, the state will be recommending a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact, to stay away from the 7460 Old Chapel address, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
All right. And the
Your
victim
Honor.
in this case is the child.
Yes, Your Honor. And I
With
would
the
like to
initials?
sound for any of those parties if they're on the line.
All right, and the child's initials are J,
JW.
JW. Okay. And the aunt's not a victim, or she just the one that called the police?
She's the one who called the police. The victim lives with her.
Okay. All right, let's see, do I have, is it Tamona Coleman?
Yes, Your Honor.
Don't, see her on. All right, PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Williams is 32 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He does have a separate address, so I think he will be okay to stay away. Tamona Coleman Tamona Coleman is his girlfriend, and Mr. Jamie Williams was like nephew for him, stepson, because they lived together for the last 2 years. Mr. Williams has 2 children, and he also works. He's gainfully employed at American Mart as a floor tech. He's been working there for about a year after he completed GED, and he completed up to 9th grade. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of the past history, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond. It was not actually hitting or battery to the child. My client denies the allegation. Thanks.
All right. All right, I'm going to order $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from 7460 Old Chapel Road, I believe it is. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, who's a child, initials JW. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I believe that'll be it for the case. Anything else, counsel?
No,
Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Okay. All right, that's it.
I got to go back to sitting. Yeah. Position 1 on the add-on calendar, Mr. Matt Corby. Right.
Okay.
And Your Honor, there's a co-defendant in the case and the facts are the same for both.
Okay, who's the co-defendant?
Aiden Spies, he's number 2 on the add-on.
Oh, both of the add-ons. Okay,
Yes.
okay. First one is 23 CR 001530Y. Maxwell McCarvey, charged with 1 count of lauder and prowling. The offense date is March 14, 2023. Pre-trial.
Oh. Second arrest. Last arrest was for terroristic threat. He got first offender for that. And he got put on first offender probation for that back in January out of Cherokee County. So,
All right.
Okay, and I'm also showing he's wanted out of Canton, Georgia, Your Honor. But as you stated, this incident occurred on March 14th at 165 Boxwood Court in Johns Creek. Officers were dispatched in reference to a loitering and prowl call. The owner of the property, Ms. Michelle Cartwright, stated there were people knocking on her back door and walking around her backyard. Upon arrival, officers found 3 men, including the defendant, hiding behind Cartwright's air conditioner unit. When asked, the defendant stated he was there to meet someone named Lily, but Cartwright stated she has never seen the defendant, nor does she know anyone named Lily. And the defendant was found with a black ski mask. Your Honor, the state will be recommending a $1,000 surety bond to stay away from this address and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
That Canton hold, that's the probation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. McLeod.
This is not my client, Your Honor. Mr. Spees is my
Oh, I'm
client.
sorry. PD Kim?
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Okay.
Mr. Maxwell McCorvey is 20 years young, and he's been here in Georgia for the last 5 years. Currently, he resides with his mother. He has a really good address at Lawrenceville, Georgia. And I would like to request for a signature on bond because I believe that Cherokee County has a warrant against him to pick him up, because I saw the note saying that they want to pick him up from the jail. So he's not going anywhere, Your Honor. So he can only go to Cherokee County. And I would like to ask for a signature on bond to be released to Cherokee County, Your Honor. Thanks.
All right. All right, I will order the $1,000 signature bond through the jail with the stipulation, Ms. Bridgewater, that he only be released to the to Cherokee County, who's ready to pick him up. I
Got
don't
it.
know. Throw in there Cherokee or Canton. I don't know who's coming to get him, but I guess between the two. And I don't know if we need to add that or not. But we'll do Cherokee for now, since we know Cherokee wants to come and get him, but he also has that hold from Canton, right?
Okay.
So let me put either or, just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And that should be it.
Thanks, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Right, last but not least, add on to Mr. Spies.
All right. This is 23 CR 001531J. It's at Aiden Spies, charged with 1 count of loiter prowling. Offense date March 14, 2023. Pretrial.
First arrest.
First, okay. All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. So as I stated, the facts for this are the same as the last case. They happened at the same time. Would you like me to repeat them?
No, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, just give me your recommendation.
The state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond to stay away from this address and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Okay.
Your Honor, my client.
Go
my
ahead, I'm
client-
sorry.
My client is 18 years old. He tells me that he's currently working on his GED. He tells me that he was in fact invited by a young lady that he met, name is Lily, and she asked him and his 2 friends to come to visit her. I would like to point out to the court, Your Honor, that the warrant says that they were actually knocking on the door. This is not consistent, in my opinion, with loitering and prowling. They were clearly making their presence known to the homeowner because they actually thought they were on legitimate business there and that they had been invited. I know that it is said that they were hiding behind the air conditioner, but that may be because they were scared when they saw people coming. But my client tells me he was invited there and was told to come at a specific time. And he did what the invitation indicated. It could have been that maybe the young lady was playing a prank on them or something. She gave them that address and told them to come there, Your Honor. My client has no history at all, Your Honor. He's never been arrested. And I would ask the court to give him a signature bond and get out of jail. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'd like to add one thing. I just want to reiterate that the officers did find them hiding behind the air conditioner with black ski masks, and the homeowner does not know anyone named Lily. So I seriously doubt they were invited legitimately. But I'd also like to add one condition, since he is 18, to have a curfew of 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Nothing further.
Your Honor, I believe the prosecutor had said earlier that the co-defendant had a mask. I didn't hear anything said about my client having a mask.
All three of the parties had masks, as I stated earlier, Your Honor.
Okay.
A lot of people wear masks for COVID-19, Your Honor. That doesn't mean they were intending to have any crime.
I'm sorry to laugh, but black ski mask at night.
I was gonna ask, is it
Hiding.
a ski mask or a mask?
But I'm sure we can argue that at trial, but.
Well, the thing is, it was very cold, and a lot of people cover their faces when it is cold. Last night was very cold.
Right.
What was that?
All right. It was cold last night, huh?
Mr. Spears, I don't want you to speak. You can call me
Spees or Spies? I may have mispronounced.
It's Spees, Your Honor.
Spees, I'm sorry. All right, Mr. Spees, okay. 18 years old. Did you tell me he's working, not working?
He is working on his GED, Your Honor. He's
Working on his GED.
not employed.
Does he live with his parents or lives alone?
Well, I spoke to Mom, and she tells me that he's welcome to come home. They had a little bit of a misunderstanding and he left home recently. But both of his parents live in Milton and he lived with them.
Is that the address he will be using?
That is correct, Your Honor.
But technically at the moment, he wasn't living there at this time, but he was using his parents' address.
Yes, but I was able to speak with Mom. I wasn't able to get Dad, but his parents, both of them do live together in this household, and he has a younger sister, a 16-year-old.
All right, this is his first arrest, and hopefully will be his last. I'm going to order a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. I do want him monitored. I'm going to put that condition that he continue completing his GED. That is going to be one of the conditions. Keep going to the classes to get ready for the test. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for anything prescribed to you, Mr. Spees. I'm going to order that curfew. Since you're not working, you should be at home studying for your GED from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I think that'll be it. Anything else, counsel?
Who's gonna co-sign?
And then stay away from that location. Your
Oh,
Honor.
will he need a cosign at 18 or?
Yes.
Okay, I guess the mother, Ms. McLeod.
I will contact her, Your Honor.
What's her name?
Her name is, just a moment, let me look at my notes.
Just sleep. My name's Karen.
What's her name?
Karen.
Karen.
Spees.
Karen
Spees.
Spees. S-P-I-E-S.
Yes.
And Your Honor, did you order to stay away from that address?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, and to stay away as well from the incident location.
You waiving utility bill? Or she need to bring one?
Sounds like she should be able to bring a utility bill. I won't waive it.
I think she would be able to bring a utility bill, Your Honor.
Okay, yeah, I think so. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing.
All right, that'll conclude our last case. And I just see in the chat, number 12 was released.
Yes.
I'm just catching up to the chat.
I just put it in.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I hadn't peeked over at the chat.
I don't have
Anything
no file.
else? I'm sorry.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have nothing else.
We're
Okay.
down in courtroom too.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, if that's it, let's go over the calendar.
Yes,
Once
ma'am.
again, the reset date is March the 28th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 2 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 3, reset further notice with a $4,000 SOB through the jail. Position 4, reset further notice with a $3,500 SOB through the jail. Position 5, SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 6, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 7 is reset further notice with a total $5,500 SOB through the jail. Position 8, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $4,000 split bond. Position 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Position 11 is reset further notice with a $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 12 was released. Position 13 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 14 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position on the add-on calendar number 1 is reset to the further notice $1,000 SOB through the jail. And position 2 is reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pretrial, and his mom will be co-signing. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Nope, but that will do it.
Okay. Judge, the paperwork is on its way to you.
Yes, ma'am.
you, Ms.
Thank you,
Kathy.
everyone. Have a good
Okay,
weekend.
bye-bye.
All right.